The cultural iceberg theory by Edward T. Hall suggests that, like an iceberg, there are only some aspects of culture which are visible, or which, in other words, occur above the surface of the water. These can include language, food, greetings, music, dress, rituals, and many others. These are the explicit manifestations of culture. They are easy to see, taste, or hear. According to the theory, this is only the tip of the iceberg. The majority of culture, like an iceberg, lies under the surface. These aspects are not immediately visible. These can include worldview, religion, spiritual beliefs, concepts of time, concepts of justice, decision-making models, respect for authority, and many others. These are the implicit manifestations of culture. They can exert an important influence over behavior, values, feelings, and thoughts. The more immersed we become in a cultural environment, the more the hidden aspects are revealed to us.
Cultural competency and cultural humility. You may have heard these terms before, possibly in the context of healthcare settings, and not quite understood what they meant. Let's go over what these terms mean and how they apply to everyday life. To be culturally competent is to learn about other cultures, control your biases, and adapt your behaviors and communication style considering the background of people around you. The goal of cultural competency is effective and informed interaction across various cultures. At face value, cultural competency sounds ideal, but it may actually lead us to rely on generalizations about certain groups rather than recognizing the uniqueness of each individual. We also have to ask ourselves, is it realistic or even possible for people to learn everything about other cultures and become completely bias-free? That's where cultural humility comes in. To be culturally humble is to be aware of social power imbalances, respect other people's values and beliefs, and continuously reflect on your own biases. With cultural humility, there's no expectation that you memorize everything there is to know about other groups. Instead, it's a lifelong process of asking yourself how your own biases might impact the way you treat and understand others, alongside work to minimize that impact. Cultural competency is a goal, while cultural humility is a mindset. Let's go over a few ways to practice cultural humility in our daily lives. Recognize that no culture is superior to another. Become comfortable with reflecting on and acknowledging mistakes you've made. Be honest when you're not sure about something. Learn about other cultures with the awareness that you'll never reach perfect understanding. Ask the people in your life if you can have open discussions and hold each other accountable during your learning journey. The great thing about cultural humility is that it acknowledges that no one can get it right all the time. In fact, a key component of cultural humility is being open about what we haven't learned yet. Although it can feel really uncomfortable to admit when we're wrong or don't know something, that vulnerability leaves room for us to continuously learn, grow, and promote equity and inclusion in our communities.
New research from the fields of neuroscience and social psychology has shed light onto the concept of unconscious bias. But what exactly is unconscious bias, and how does it affect our behaviors and decisions? Unconscious biases are simply our unintended people preferences. They are formed by our socialization, our personal experiences, and the representations of different groups in the media. These experiences act as social filters in which we make assessments and judgments of people around us. Research tells us that human beings have a natural tendency to place individuals into social categories. These categories are often based on visual cues such as gender, cultural background, age, height, or body size. We also categorize based on social background, job roles, religious identity, or political affiliation. The unconscious brain uses associations based on social categories to develop biases. For example, if we are constantly exposed to women as primary school teachers or receptionists, or men as plumbers and organizational leaders, these associations become wired within the human brain. The unconscious brain uses social categories to make unconscious judgments about people who are similar to us and people who are different from us. A common form of unconscious bias is affinity bias. This type of bias impacts talent processes in organizational decision-making, including how we recruit. Managers are more likely to hire people who look similar or with sounding names to them. Work allocation. Managers are more likely to assign key client projects to individuals within their teams who they have an unconscious affinity with. Performance. Where there is some kind of affinity, managers are more likely to spend time informally discussing positive contributions to the team and will focus on development and future work plans. For those where there is little affinity, managers are more likely to question past performance. The conversation will be less friendly and even hostile at times. Unconscious bias often results in a set of micro-behaviors. Examples of positive micro-behaviors include supporting the ideas of someone with who you have an unconscious affinity whilst in a team meeting, or simply wanting to have coffee with someone like you. Examples of negative micro-behaviors include checking emails on your phone whilst talking to a colleague or cutting someone off in a meeting. Often our intention is not to make biased decisions, and through a focus on conscious thinking and by creating inclusive work cultures, we can learn to control our unconscious judgments and mitigate the impact of bias on our talent programs. For more information on the nature of unconscious bias and how to mitigate its effects, contact ENEI, www.enei.org.uk, info@enei.org.uk, telephone 0207 922 7790.
Hi everyone, I'm Becky Ely, foster care manager, and typically the one calling you guys on placements. Today, I want you to think about what it would be like to say yes to parent a kid of a different race, African American or Native American, and how you would help them to connect to other people of that race, connect to their cultural roots, and really include them in your family, what that would mean.
Hey, Ariel foster parents. This is Sarah Suazo, case manager supervisor for our foster care team. I want to ask you, what would it take for your family to say yes to a placement of a child that was medically fragile? The term medically fragile is pretty broad, and it could mean a lot of different things. It might mean a child's in a wheelchair. Maybe that child can't talk. Maybe they have a lot of seizures or other medical conditions that are severe. It also could mean that they have lots of appointments every week. Physical therapy, speech, occupational therapy. What things in your life would you have to move around or switch up a little so that you guys could be able to not only accept a placement that was medically fragile, but also help that child to thrive and grow?
Hi guys, I am Kelsey Gordon. I'm one of the aerial case managers here in the Grand Junction area. The question I have for you is, what would you do if an 8-year-old child placed in your home came out as transgender?
Hi, my name is Mary Chaffin. I'm a case manager with Ariel in the South End. My question is, how would you support a child who comes out as gay or one who is questioning their sexuality?
Hey everybody, it's Victoria Renty. I'm a foster care case manager in Grand Junction. My question for you today is, if you received a placement call for a kiddo who practiced a religion different than your own, would you be willing to take them as placement, go to church with them, and support their beliefs while holding your own